Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Sonar 101 today. My name is Jessica Hale, and I'm with the Customer Success team at FreightWaves. I'm here to help you understand how to tap into the power of Sonar. This Sonar 101 webinar is designed to show you how to navigate and use the tools and functionality within Sonar. We will have live Q&A at the end of this session, so please feel free to input any questions you have into the Q&A tool on the webinar. We'll be sure to get to them as soon as we're available or toward the end of the demonstration. If you'd like a deeper dive into understanding the power of all Sonar data sets, we'll be happy to set up a dedicated session for you and other users at your company. We also have Sonar 201 starting tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern Time, going over the top 5 data sets to use in your operations day to day. And on Thursday at 11 a.m., we have Sonar 301, where we will have a market expert come in and get in-depth discussions around some of our data sets. I'm going to get started here, so give me just a moment. All right. When you very first get logged into Sonar, you will be directed to the global pages in the top left-hand corner. The global pages are updated by FreightWaves employees only. So you cannot change, edit, customize any of those pages in the global pages. They do change periodically depending on data sets, trends in the market, etc. So if there is a page on the global pages that you want to keep down in your My Pages, we can now copy pages. So what you do is click Edit Pages, click on the dashboard or any page that you wish to save or copy. And then down in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see the copy function. Once you click the copy button, it will then populate down into your My Pages, and it will say copy of dashboard or copy of whichever page that you have decided to save. If you would like to create your own pages or customize them to your specific business needs, you need to create your own page. If you go down to the bottom left-hand corner where it says Edit Pages, a blue plus sign that says Add Page will pop up. When that Add Page button pops up, this will prompt you to name the page. You can name this around a data set, around a market, around a customer. Really, it's the best way to stay organized within the platform. So in this one, I'm just going to do Sonar 101, and I'm going to click Add. And once you click Add, it will take you to the plain blank gray screen for you to add any widgets that you wish. To add a widget, you go up to the top right-hand corner where there is a blue plus sign. And as you can see, we have the news, chart, watch list, map, video, and analytic widgets for you to choose from. You can add as many widgets to the page as you want, and the very last thing you do on the page will be automatically saved. So if you X out of something, add something, or change the data sets, it's the very last thing that you do on that page will be saved automatically. When you log in the next day, that page will appear as it was when you left it. Before I get into the widgets and building out pages, I want to cover a couple features that we have in the top right-hand corner. The first one is our moderated chat function, or I like to call it the double bubble. The double bubble or moderated chat is a great way for you to communicate with members of the FreightWaves community or Sonar community to ask questions about a data set, maybe trends in the market, or actually anything that you have. We encourage our customers to come into chat, ask questions, communicate with each other. As you can see, Donnie Gilbert on here has been talking a lot this morning with some of our customers. As you can see, the numbers are anonymous, so you can speak on here without being identify your the customer you work for, or anything like that. So there will be market experts like Donnie Gilbert, myself in customer success. We'll have some data experts sometimes on here, as well as sometimes you'll get a guest message from Craig Fuller. The next thing over here is our Sonar Sue. Our Sonar Sue is the Orca, and she gives us updates or announcements that we have. Every week, we try to do a release, whether it's around features of the platform or data sets, and you will be able to view it in Sonar Sue. So you can see this past weekend, we added new volume indices into the platform. So you can read all about them and go back and look in historic time about other announcements that we have added. The next one is our market insight and research document library. This houses 4 different types of information that we have. So we have the Daily Watch, which comes out every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The deep dives, market insights, and our research papers. So this is a great way to stay connected to what's going on in the industry. The Daily Watch every single day is short little blurbs about what's going on in the market, coming straight from our market experts using Sonar to back that data. So, for example, as you can see, the one for today, you can preview it, you can download it, share it with others in your office, or like I said, download it to your computer. The next thing I want to talk about on here before we go on is our research papers. Our research papers is added in Sonar, and you get all of the research papers with a Sonar subscription. We have an entire research and research team going over specific topics in depth, 20 to 60 page research papers with carrier surveys, shipper surveys, all kinds of information that you can't find anywhere else. So this is a great tool that we've added in here for you guys to understand like the content and everything on a bigger level than just typical day-to-day. The next thing we have is My Sonar Tools. The first one is My Custom Indices, and this is where you as a customer can add your specific tender data into Sonar and bounce it up against our data. This is available per customer and one upload per customer. So you upload your tender volumes, your rejections, all of your tender data, and you can bounce it up against our data without having to go the API route. You can upload everything into the Sonar platform. The My Map Layers is where you can upload your custom locations. So you can put customer locations, terminals, anything that you have, upload it into Sonar and put underlying data points like rejections or volumes underneath there to see where exactly they lie in a market and how those specific customers will be affected. I'll get into that a little bit more when we get over to the maps. The next is our Freight Futures tab. If you guys have any questions about this specifically, I can get you in contact with Tom Mallon. He's our Freight Future expert guru. The next thing I want to go over before we dig into building pages and the widgets is our Knowledge Center, and that is the question mark in the top right-hand corner. When you click on the Knowledge Center, it will bring you up this page. Getting started is pretty high level, basic navigation, adding pages, how to build a widget, all of that information. Indices by Sonar category is that real value here. You can break out all of Sonar's data sets by category. It is also listed the same in Sonar. So if you are familiar, with looking at the Knowledge Center at Air, you know that it's under Air also in Sonar. This is a great tool to see all of the data sets that we currently have, what they mean, and how they benefit you. For example, market volume insights, and I want to look at head haul index. Click on head haul index. It tells me what it is, who is of interest for this, and what does it tell me? What does this mean? So the Knowledge Center is a great tool just for that, understanding what data sets you want to look at and what we have available without having to search within the platform. I'm going to hop back down here to our Sonar 101 page, which I have not added any widgets, which is why it is still blank, because it was the last thing that I did when I left. I'm going to go up to the blue plus sign, and I'm going to start with the news widgets first. The RSS news feed If you click on that, you can enable scrolling mode and select the specific categories that you want to view for RSS news. So if you want to look at Sonar, say technology, and maybe international, click on those, click save, and then you'll have a scrolling news widget available for you to view. So you can see, top headlines on the specific categories that you chose. If there is one that pops up that piques your interest, you can hover over it. The scrolling stops. You can click on it, and it will bring up that specific article. I'm going to X out of this. I'm going to go back up to the blue plus sign, and I'm going to click on social media flash content. Social media flash content is just that. It's coming off of Twitter, social media feeds. If you go over to this blue little arrow on the left-hand side, you can see all the subjects that we have and all the Twitter feeds that we currently have. We have over 35,000 Twitter handles that we specifically picked out related to transportation and the transportation industry and anything that affects that. So if you wanted to click on specific subjects, you can do that. Go down to the gear down here and turn on the scrolling mode. Click save. And you can also view the scrolling mode of social media content as well. The exact same thing you can do is hover over it, click on it, and that specific feed will pop up as well. This is great for finding exactly what you're looking for, or when we had Dorian a little while ago, you can type in Dorian, and it will specifically go all the way down to what you're looking for. It's a great tool. We have a lot of customers that use this, up on their big screens in the office for their team to look at every day, just to kind of give them visibility of what's going on, outside of the little, brokerage bubble or carrier bubble, wherever you're at. I'm going to X out of this, and I'm going to pop down to the calendar real quick. The calendar widget has holidays, FreightWaves news articles, and the U.S.-China trade war. When you click on save, it will populate the calendar. You can see when holidays are coming up. You can see what specific days that FreightWaves articles were released. So you can click on any of these to see on what specific day what articles were published. What articles were published, and what days the holidays were as well. We are working on making this a little bit better for you guys to be able to view, but this is a great tool to kind of every single day to kind of see what our headlines are that you want to view. I'm going to X out of this. I'm going to go back up to the blue plus sign, and the next one I'm going to go down to is start with the maps. The maps are the easiest to kind of walk through first, so I'm going to start with the maps first. And go over those. Our map is broken out by 135X markets. We have partnered with DAT to receive that map breakout. They are broken out by 3-digit zip codes. So if you're familiar with the DAT markets, these are the same breakouts. Over on the left-hand side, you can see the first one is the date. You can click on the date, go back historically, and look at any specific day. If you want to view data that's happened on that day, or what happened maybe a year ago, you can view that on the map if you wish. The second one is our map layers, and our map layers are where you can upload your specific locations. I think I talked about that a little bit ago, but you can upload your specific customer locations, or locations that you're going after to try to get more business, RFPs, multiple different ways you can kind of play this out. but you can upload them and see exactly where they lie within a market. You can also go to trucking supply and demand, or I'm sorry, the third tab, the trucking freight data tab, and overlay data sets underneath them. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'll explain this in just a second, but I'm just going to real quick view this. Add outbound tender rejects on here and put the data set underneath the customer locations. So you can see the middle of the country has the highest outbound tender rejections because they're the darkest blue. You can see what customers lie within those markets. They might have trouble covering their freight. They might have, excess freight that they need moved. Winter coming up, you might have some Christmas season coming up, you might have some expedited shipments that need moved. It's also a great way to go after, new customers or existing customers to expand business with them. That is under the map layers right here. The next one is the freight data tab. The freight data tab is broken out by different granularities. It's automatically defaulted to the U.S. markets. You have Canadian markets, PAD markets, states, and regions. Always make sure your core path settings are turned on. And you can click here and look at all of the different indices that we have available for you to look at. What I'm looking at right now is the outbound tender reject index. The outbound tender reject index is the darker the blue, the higher the percent of freight is being rejected out of that market. We'll go more into these data sets tomorrow at 3:30 during Sonar 201. I'm going to turn off the chloroplast settings, go down to Sonar Analytics tab and turn on market volatility. I'll go over this in depth when we get to the volatility widget, but basically this shows volatility in the markets in the 4 indices that we track. So outbound volume, outbound rejection, head haul, and tender lead time. So if I click on the head haul volatility, this will show me the markets that have the high highs and the low lows and that show volatility on any given day. So for today, you see the green markets have medium to strong increases in volatility, while the red markets are medium to strong decreases in volatility in each given market. This is a great way to kind of view markets that you can capitalize in each day, whether it's getting more margin, getting certain loads covered earlier, or getting new freight from the spot board. The next one is the rail data. So if you turn on rail data, you can see all of the rail lines in the United States. You can X out on some of these that maybe you aren't interested in or do not want. The next one is our weather and traffic layer settings tab. You can turn on your weather road conditions, and this is what is happening on the road. Is the road dry, wet, icy, snowy? It's a great way to see in the future what's happening on the roads. We have a 48-hour in advance road conditions tab, and it will play in the future. After a storm comes through, the roads still stay, wet, icy, snowy, maybe even closure in the wintertime. So we're coming up on the winter, so this will be really important to see maybe delays in transportation or having capacity in the area. Let's see here. As you can see, we have some pink and blues up in here and how it's changing over the next 48 hours. Sorry, I'm in booth down here. Got a little bit bad Wi-Fi. Here we go. You can also zoom in to a given market. So let's zoom in up here and see some more roads. The more you zoom in, more roads will populate, as you can see slowly going up here, playing this 48 hours in advance, and you can see those roads change and how the weather affects the actual road conditions. I'm going to go next to, oops, I'm sorry about that, guys. Next, I'm going to go to traffic. Traffic is live traffic. So what is going on the roads and traffic? Do we have moderate congestion, severe congestion, or no congestion at all? So the darker red get, the more congestion we have. And like I said, this is live traffic. And the more you zoom in, more roads appear as well. Here we go. We also have 20,000 DOT road cameras. The 20,000 DOT road cameras are updated every 10 minutes. So you're getting a live snapshot of what's going on with the traffic. In my past life, working in a brokerage, I used this often to communicate to my customers if my drivers are running late. I would search all over the different DOT websites trying to find the snapshot of where my driver is or broken down at or stuck in traffic. And you can see on here, all of this is in one area. This is a great tool to use, and it gives you a pretty good picture. And it also, sometimes you'll get timestamps on here as well. Let's see here. See a little bit of congestion here. We still don't have a timestamp. Some of them will have timestamps on them, but they are updated every 10 minutes for you guys to view. X out of this right here, and I'm going to turn on my location specific data. So as you can see, the Denver market is a pretty big market. And the good thing about this is, say you have a load picking up, somewhere down here or up here in the Denver market, you can zoom in, pinpoint exactly where that is, and it will tell you what that city and state is by longitude and latitude. So you can see the exact road conditions, road temperature, air temperature. You can click these 3 dots on the right-hand side and see wind gusts, wind speed for the area that you're looking at. So like I said, Denver is a big market. So the northern side of Denver might be very different than the southern side of Denver. So pinpointing exactly where you want to look at, it will give you the specific location forecast. You can also click on these little arrows right here, and it will show you it kind of charted instead of listed out as like it was on the other one. Freight data. So this is talking about the market as a whole. So this is Denver. I clicked on the market and it brought up Denver and all of the data sets we have specific to the Denver market. So that's the great thing about this as well. So you can click on any market and it will give you a quick glance of all the high level or all the data sets on a high level. X out of this. I'm going to hop down here to Critical Events Center. The Critical Events Center shows you weather threats. So whether it's, earthquakes, cyclones, severe weather watches and warnings, all kinds of things, and how it affects our assets. So if you click on the little button right here that says assets, it will give you a list of all the things we currently track. So we track airports, canals, ports, railroads, and refineries. And if anything weather-related happened to one of those things, shut down an airport, maybe a port, or disrupted anything in regards to those, obviously that will affect transportation, whether it's immediate or whether it's long-term. It will affect that. So that is why you see all these little green, orange, and red little dots everywhere, or donuts, I guess we like to call them. You can zoom in and more dots will appear. As you can see, we have one right here. Looks like Wyoming refinery here. It tells you what that max risk is. We track a 1 to 25, so this is at a 17. And it tells you what it is. So possible winter weather starts in one day and lasts for 3 days. Gives you a little bit more in-depth information on temperature, how long that threat is available for, precipitation, and gives you more in-depth conversations about threats here. And we also have shading that this is around, so you can see winter storm watch. And then let's see. It's all over here actually. Fire conditions and winter storm watch all in one. So that's like the weather portion when working with assets. The next thing I kind of want to show is the hurricanes or cyclones that you can track in here as well. So if you click on any one of these hurricanes, cyclones, typhoon here, you can look at forecasted models and historical path. So historical is where it came from and forecasted models is where it's going. So this one's pretty spot on where it looks like it's going to be going. It gives you the latest advisory, assets that are in their route. So as you can see, if you hover over them, it will show you where those assets are located. Just in-depth conversations about where that storm is going. Obviously, that would drastically affect the transportation industry, so tracking storms are very, very important. Just a last couple things we have on here. The middle one is overlays. You can look at the overlays. Some of them are just pretty cool. You can see the day and the night. You can see cloud coverage, precipitation, and snowfall. Very cool. I'm going to X out of critical events and go back up to the blue plus sign, and I'm going to show you guys a chart. When you pull up a chart, it will be plain blank, a plain blank chart. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see where it says enter symbol. If you click on that, that is where the index categories are. You can click on any plus sign, and it will drop down more data sets underneath that category. And when you find a data set you want to view, if you click on the plus sign, it will drop down the granularities that you want to view that data set in. You can also type in the code at the top where it says enter symbol. When you get used to the codes, it will kind of become second nature. But in the meantime, you can use the Knowledge Center as well as this index categories to kind of do the drop downs and find out what you're looking for. We have the 5 most popular trucking and rail indices at the top. All other volume data is underneath market volume insights, and all other rejection data is under trucking supply and demand. I am just going to pull up otri.usa and look at outbound tender rejection index.usa on a national level. Down here in the bottom right, you can see the different time series to view that data in. You can look at 1 month, and also you can just zoom in with your mouse or this tool right here. Or you can go all the way down here and look at all the data that we have available for that specific index. We have some kind of macroeconomic data that goes way back to like the 60s or 70s. So you'll see when you click all, some data sets have a lot more than others. You can also do a date range selector. So you can put, if you want to look at a specific date, maybe August 1st to the end of September, and click apply. It will only give you those date range that you chose. Go. There we go. Over here on the top right are kind of the tools that we have. So display, you can view the data sets on different types of So absolute is the absolute number. Relative is the percent change over the given time period that you're looking at. So if you chose 1 month, you're seeing the percent change over that last month. And dual is when you're comparing 2 different indices that do not have the same value. So outbound tender reject index is a percentage. And if you want to view OTVI, which is an index, it will kind of flatline at the bottom because the values are not the same. So if you go up to display and click on dual, it will show the outbound tender reject index in blue on the right-hand side axis, and OTVI are volumes with the left-handed axis, y-axis, showing the volumes. So that's the dual y-axis. I'm going to go back up to display and click on relative and just show you the percent change. So you can see outbound tender rejections down here over the last, let's just do 3 months. You can see in the last 3 months, rejections are down 12% and volumes are up 17%. So you can use the time range or the date range at the bottom to change that. I'm going to X out of volume right here. Actually, you can also click set as main symbol on your compare to flip the data sets for any reason. So if I click set as main symbol, outbound volume goes at the top and outbound rejections go at the bottom. I'm going to X out of this compare and just look at outbound tender volume. If you click on display again, I'm going to go back to absolute. And I want to talk about seasonality. So seasonality will show you like year over year comparison. Our volume data, we only have 1 year right now. So I'm going to click previous year's 1, show seasonality, and it will show you the seasonality year over year for outbound volume through the United States. You can do this for any index that has previous year data and on any granularity. So you can view it all the way down to market level, lane level, whatever you're looking at. And you can also click on any date range down here as well. I like to look seasonality on full year because it will show a January to December. So you can see maybe where the market could possibly be going based off of seasonal trends or like seasonality in general. As you can see, this year is on the blue line. Last year's on the green. So since about mid of July, we've had more outbound volume so far this year than we've had last year. So we have more outbound volume shipping in the United States than we have volume as of last year. And it kind of shows you good peaks and valleys to know like seasonality. So you can see kind of a little bit of a drop off in freight right here. Also see this drop off in freight this year, but we're still above year over year average. And to X out of this seasonality, we also have a couple different chart styles you can choose. We have a line chart. What we currently were looking at was a mountain. We also have baseline, for example, where you can measure your baseline wherever you wish to see, above and below. Go back to mountain. Down at the bottom, we also have like large fonts. So if you're screenshotting this, sending this out to your team, posting anything on LinkedIn, if you do large fonts, it makes it a little bit easier for people to read. We also have this new feature where you can show units on y-axis. So if I click on that, the units will pop up. So it's telling me that outbound volume is measured in an index. So if you're looking at rejections, it will show you a percent, meaning that it's measured in a percentage. This also has themes where you can change colors of the display as well by clicking on new theme, changing the colors as you wish, background, line chart, mountain, peak, base, all different kinds of stuff. And you can name it what you wish. And when you click save, it will populate down in your themes. The next one over here is the studies. We have moving averages, we have RSI, standard deviation, all kinds of things underneath studies. If you want something specific to this, reach out to Sonar support at FreightWaves.com, and I will be happy to set up a training session with you guys around the studies function. The next one is events. So I'm going to turn on these events, and you'll see little icons pop up on the chart. Well, sorry about that. Basically, you'll have little circles pop up on the chart. you'll have little circles pop up on a chart, and that's the day that a article was published to the site. So anytime that an article or one of FreightWaves articles mentions otvi.usa, that will link to a chart. So you can pull it up on a chart and see, oh, we have a really big peak here, a really low valley here. What's going on? Just to bring context to the data that you're looking at. You can click on the article and it will populate the article for you to be able to read given to this specific index. I will check on this with our product team to kind of see what's going on. Click the off button now. The three things over on the right hand side, we have a crosshair. So you can get a little bit more specific on what the value is when you are looking at a specific date. We have the info tab, which is very similar, just gives a little bit more information around it. And then the last one is our draw function. So once you click the draw function over here where it says select tool, this is where you can kind of play around with making the graphs your own. For example, you have a call out right here. You can select call out, click where you want the call out to go, and kind of type in whatever message you want to show, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's internally, whether it's, to your boss and customer, QBR, anything that you guys have, and click save. And this will save on the chart, so it will come every day when you log in, that will save on that chart. We also have trend lines that a lot of people use. So all the way down at the bottom, we have trend lines where you can click and view the trend line. And over the last 59 days, it's been on this specific time period, 7% increase, which is 733 basis points. Undo this right here. So you can make this chart all your own here. That's a last thing on the chart. Down here where it says view symbol information, you can click on that when you're looking at the chart to kind of read a little bit more about the index, how often it is updated, and what the unit type is. You can also click on View Knowledge Center link, and that will take you directly to that index on the Knowledge Center. I'm going to X onto the chart real quick, and I'm going to hop over to a watch list. I'm going to go up to the blue plus sign and click on Watch List. To build a watch list, you click on Manage Symbols, and you build it all the same. So underneath Browse, you'll have your same categories as you do on your chart. You can search and add it to your watch list, or you can use some of our existing lists to view rejection lanes out of a specific market. I'm going to go to Browse, and I'm going to look at the 5 most popular trucking indices, and I'm going to use, see here. Sorry about that. Go outbound tender reject index, click the plus sign, and click on X markets, click add selected items, and I'm going to click done. When that's done, you just have to name your watch list. So I'm just going to name OTRI X markets, and I'm going to show you all the different types of watch lists we have. The first one is the standard watch list. The standard watch list is just black and gray list view, where you can filter, sort by city, value. So the value as of yesterday, so the highest market is Bismarck at 37%, change and percent change. You can also click on the 3 dots over here to add 52-week highs and lows, market share, etc. You can also click on the filter button and filter this down. So if you want to view any value greater than 10, so 10% or higher, click apply, and it will bring it down only to the markets that are over 10. So you can filter it out. I'm going to go back to edit, hop down to heat map list. Heat map list is just the same, exactly the same actually, but it is color coded. So green means it's going up, red means it's going down. Same filter options and added options here. Go back to edit, and I'm going to click on tree map. Tree map is one of my favorite ways to view. In the top left-hand corner is your largest value, all the way down to your bottom right-hand corner at the smallest value. The bottom number is the value as of yesterday, so 37% out of Bismarck, and the top number is the percent change day over day. I like to change that time period, so up in the top left-hand corner, change that to a 2-week to show the percent change in that specific index and market on a 2-week change. So you can see there's been a lot of increase in some of the bigger markets here. So you have a lot of the Midwest markets on the top, and they've continually gone up over the last 2 weeks. You can also filter it out just like the other watch lists. And if you want to do percent change greater than 10 and click apply, it will knock it down to markets that have a 10% or higher change. I go back to edit and show you guys the scrolling ticker. This is great to have on a TV as well as the news scrolling tickers, just to kind of have people view this every day, scrolling across the TVs in your office. You can click on any one of these and it will spawn a chart. You can also filter this down, change the time period you're looking at, and add additional sort the filters as well by value change, percent change, in what order it shows. Go back to edit and show you guys the market table. So the market table is great to view multiple different markets with multiple different data sets. So you can have all X markets here, or narrow it down to maybe just the Southeast region or whichever markets you operate in, and then add specific data sets. So you can look at rejections, volume, head haul, wait time, all on one chart. It'll look like a table. You can also sort this to see the change over the last 2 weeks, month, year over year. And you can also do the same filter. If you click on any box, it will spawn a chart. Just like all of the watch list, anything you click on, it will spawn a chart. And the last thing, I'm going to go back and edit and go back down to the gauge chart. The gauge chart shows 52-week lows and 52-week highs, and the middle number is the current value. So for example, the Atlanta market, the 52-week low is 2.85%, 52-week high is almost 11%, and it is a little over 4% right now in rejection rate as of yesterday. You can also filter and sort as well. So those are all of the watch lists that you can play around with and choose from. Everybody kind of likes specific ones. I'm partial to the tree map and the gauge chart. It's just my personal preference. It's the same data, just how you like to view it. I'm going to go back up here real quick and talk about the video library. The video library is houses all of our good videos. So we have our webinars, we have FreightWaves now that's uploaded on here. We have news widget, or I'm sorry, not news widgets, news videos, of past event videos with speakers, demos, etc., that you can view all within Sonar. And last but not least, we have the most volatile markets widget. This is a great way to show volatility. So we talked about volatility on the map. this is what feeds that volatility showing on the map is our volatility widget. So I like to sort it just by markets that only have volatility and click save. I like to sort it by, it's already sorted by market share. But you can see on the left-hand side are all of the markets that have volatility in at least one of the 4 indices we track: outbound volume, rejections, head halt, and tender lead time. And it goes from, moderate and strong increases all the way to moderate and strong decreases. So it shows those high highs and those low lows without you having to do the legwork to figure out if that's normal for the market or not. So you'll understand, for example, Dallas is the highest market with the most outbound volume that has volatility. And if you click on this head haul volatility right here, it will show you outbound volume and inbound volume. And that's what makes up our head haul index: outbound tender volume minus inbound tender volume. So the reason why you see this increase in head haul volatility is because this huge drop off in inbound volume. So when you see this huge drop off in inbound volume and, freight's or outbound volume's kind of slightly gone down, but it's been kind of level over the last couple days, but inbound volume is continually to tank. That kind of makes you assume that capacity is probably not as readily there as it was maybe a week or 2 ago. So then you can dig into like rejections and see, wow, rejections have actually had this little spike up here from a little above 2 to 2.6%. That's probably because people are rejecting a little bit more because we've seen a decline in available trucks because not as many trucks are entering that market. So this is a great way to kind of just view high level, where are those flags at? Where do I need to capitalize on for that day? Click on any of them and it will spawn a chart and you can dig in a little bit deeper. Great tool. This has been added on 4.0 since May. We have plenty of customers that utilize this every single day. If you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. If you would like to do anything, a deeper dive in understanding all of these different data sets, how to use this in your day-to-day, we'll be happy to set up a dedicated session personalized to you, how this works in your day-to-day operations. So please either reach out to your customer success rep, email sonarsupport@freightwaves.com, and we'll be happy to take care of this for you. We also have webinar tomorrow, 2:01 at 3:30 Eastern Time, going over the 5 most important data sets for you guys to view every single day. And then on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll have our market experts come in and dig deep into some of the data sets. We're open for questions, so please feel free to comment in the chat function or Q&A tool. And we'll stay on for a little while for you guys to ask away. So the question we have right now is if you can show rejections by Vanner Reefer, and I apologize for not addressing that. Yes, you can look at actual volumes and rejections by Vanner Reefer. I'll show you real quick in a chart by going up to the blue plus sign, add chart. For example, I'll just do this for the Atlanta market, VOTRI.ATL. That is a van outbound tender reject. And I'll compare this to ROTRI.ATL. So basically it's the same ticker, so VOTRI.ATL, .atl.dal for Dallas .usa for national. And you can compare them to see rejection rates out of Atlanta are about 9%, while Van is only at about almost 4%. So very good point. Yes, breaking out rejections by equipment type is very important, just like volumes, VOTVI.ATL, and then ROTVI.ATL. So you have van and reefer volume. So you can see reefer's only at about a 44 index, van's about 279. So there's a lot more van volume out of the Atlanta market than there is reefer right now. So yes, equipment types by volumes and by rejections are available, as well as length of hauls, which I believe will be covered in more in depth tomorrow for you guys. Great question. If anybody has any other questions, we are still here. We will stay on for a couple more minutes, and then if we have no more questions, we will exit. So if you guys have anything, please feel free to reach out. All right. Thank you guys for your time today. Again, 201 is scheduled tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern Time. Even if you can't come, please register. You'll get a recording to your email. Thursday at 11 a.m., we'll have our 301 with our market experts. Again, if you want a personalized training session, reach out to your customer success rep, or you can email Sonar Support at FreightWaves.com. I monitor that email address, so you'll probably be hearing from me. So thank you guys for joining today, and I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thank you, and have a great day.